Hi, I'm Benjamin from Airtame, and in this video I'll show you how you can use our network checker to verify that your network is ready for your Airtame devices. When using an Airtame device for either wireless screen sharing, digital signage, or video conferencing, the Airtame device relies heavily on your network to perform all of the necessary tasks. With a pretty standard network, it should work out of the box, but if you have a more complex network where you have set up restrictions on stuff like ports and host names, you might run into issues where the Airtame device cannot complete its task because of some network configuration. To help find out if your network has any of these issues, we've designed a network checker that you can run on your own laptop that will check your network, check all the required host names, ports, and even run a ping test to verify that your network will in fact work nicely with the Airtame device. If your network is blocking the Airtame device from reaching certain host names or ports, you could experience this as issues connecting, issues with stability during a call or a screen sharing session, and even unexpectedly getting disconnected from the Airtame device. So it makes a lot of sense to check your network and make sure it's fully compatible with the requirements of your Airtame device. Let me show you how our Airtame network checker actually works. You'll find a link to the network checker in the video description of this video, where you can download it as two different versions. If we head to my laptop here, you'll see I have the executable file, the .exe file that I can run, which is the recommended way of doing it if you're using a Windows-based laptop. Alternatively, you can download the raw Python file in case you want to look through what the script actually does, or in case you want to run it on a different operating system like Mac OS or Linux. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm using a Windows-based laptop and I'll be running the executable file. So I'll simply open the executable file, and the first thing that's going to happen is we'll see a command prompt where it asks me for a 5-character parent code from an Airtame device I want to test against. Now, it's important to try and keep this test as real life as possible, meaning we want to have the laptop in a real life scenario that could be in a meeting room or in a classroom. So your laptop should be on the same Wi-Fi network as your end users would be. And ideally you want to test against a fully configured Airtame device that has all of the settings that you plan to use. That means if you are using a virtual Airtame, of course test on one of those. If you're using Airtame hardware or a mix, we do recommend that you test against Airtame hardware, as there is a few extra checks that we're running if we detect that we are pairing to an Airtame hardware device. You should also consider whether or not the device you're connecting to is using video conferencing. If you plan to use video conferencing for any of your Airtame devices, make sure that you are now connecting to a device with video conferencing enabled. That will run a few extra tests to verify that the host names of each of the 4 supported video conferencing services will in fact be reachable as well. So for my purposes, I have this Nimbus Hub set up, so I'll simply look at that and enter the 5-character parent code into my command prompt. If we head back to the laptop, as soon as I have entered the parent code, you'll see that it has successfully found my Airtame hub called Nimbus Hub, and it has located the IP which it will use for the ping test in a moment. For now, it instantly starts running through a series of host names. So we have general host names that are general things that we want to verify works. Being able to access Airtame Cloud is of course very important, and a few other domains that are necessary for any Airtame operation. We have sync host names to make sure that the timing of the Airtame device matches the timing of where it's located. And then we have host names related to specific third-party services. If you're getting any kind of errors on these services, do of course consider if you plan to use them. For example, if the script is identifying that the Airtame device cannot reach Unsplash, but you never plan to use Unsplash for any kind of digital signage, you can probably ignore that error. Once all of these general host names have been tested, we move down to testing network ports. These are more related to the internal network, making sure that the laptop can actually wirelessly connect to the Airtame device. We have some general ports being tested for users with the Airtame app, both the mobile and the desktop app, as well as using the browser version to connect from the laptop to the Airtame device. Then we move on to our native protocols, AirPlay, Google Cast, and Miracast. Now, due to technical limitations, if you're running this on a Windows machine, you will not be able to verify that AirPlay works. And vice versa, if you're running the script on a Mac computer, you will not be able to verify that Miracast works. So if native protocols are very important to you and you want to test all 3 native protocols, we do recommend that you run this script on both a Windows machine and a Mac machine. Then you'll see that we're testing the video conferencing services, as I mentioned. This will only run if the device you're connecting to has video conferencing enabled. But I can see here that both Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, and WebEx have been correctly verified. Lastly, we will run a ping speed test that is checking the raw speed between the laptop and the Airtame device, giving you an average response time and a status indicating the ping speed quality. So you will see here that it reported excellent ping speed, which means that I should expect a low latency and a very clear picture when screen sharing. If you're getting anything other than the green text here, do consider some of the more physical aspects of your setup. If your Airtame device is running on Wi-Fi, you should probably consider moving to Ethernet if possible, as it gives a much faster and more stable connection, which will definitely improve the ping speed. If you're already on Ethernet or you don't have an option to run on Ethernet, you could consider 2 other things. The first thing would be the physical placement of your Airtame device. Typically, Airtame devices are hidden behind a big TV, but if you place the Airtame device too far in towards the center of the back of the TV, it can get blocked by all of the internal electronics of the TV, giving it a poor signal to your AP. So if possible, and if you're running an Airtame device on Wi-Fi, or you plan to use Miracast, which is peer-to-peer Wi-Fi, you should consider moving your device to the outer edge of the back of the TV. Lastly, you could consider improving the network for your actual laptop. That means considering the placement of the AP compared to where your laptop is located. For that reason, it is really useful to run this script in a kind of finished scenario, like I said, in a classroom or in a meeting room, where you're mimicking the exact same behavior an end user would perform when actually screen sharing or hosting a conference call. So with all of these tests complete, I can see that in my case, my network is fully ready for my Airtame devices. If you get any errors here, you will of course be notified about which hostnames is failing, what ports are failing, and the specific average response time of the ping test. So you can try and follow up and rerun the script once you've made the necessary changes. If you do have any further questions regarding your network setup, do reach out to support and we'll be happy to help you make sure that your network is fully secure while still allowing all the necessary ports and host names for your Airtame device. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.